Bennett from the pocket. Launches to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. A.D. Mitchell.
3rd and 10 from the 11. Travis under pressure, trying to escape. Able to escape. Turns the corner. Stays in back.
Gets to the edge. Sonny Michel will send the Dogs home. To the 30. 35. There's another first down.
Not dealing with much pressure at all when he does drop back to throw.
The play action. Bennett looks down the middle. McConkey's wide open. Touchdown, Dogs.
What's going on, guys? This is the Knowles and Dogs podcast, your college football podcast, but we also do other sports too.
Mhm.
I'm Hunter.
I'm
That
Dylan.
is my co-host, Dylan. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
So just stealing the show, I guess. Feels good to be recording again. Took a couple weeks off, collect our minds, get ourselves set. Plus, there was really nothing else going on, so.
Both got a little busy, and there really wasn't anything to report on. To be quite honest with you, it was kind of a quiet couple weeks for the most part.
Yeah. So, but we're back.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a nice, easy show today. We got a couple things we got to talk about. Rundown is pretty much going to be NIL. There's an NIL congressional hearing that was going on. Our thoughts a little bit. The Final Four is today, today.
Mhm.
It's going to be, as of right now, it's going to be, first game should be tipping off in a couple hours. So we'll have our thoughts and predictions. AR-15, or Anthony Richardson, had his pro day the other day. We react. We give you as the true source. And
The most unbiased sources on Anthony Richardson.
as the most unbiased and true media, you're not going to get anything fake here. This is all 100% real. So you're going to hear our thoughts and what we think about AR-15 heading into the draft, and then we play our finish round out with the daily 3-question game, where we give each other 3 questions.
Mhm.
Mine are right here on this little note card.
Got
And,
mine right here on my phone.
Well, that's what it is. So without further ado, we are going to get right into it.
Yep.
So we will start with the NIL congressional hearing.
Mhm.
Dylan, you want to give it a little spiel? I'll let you start.
Yeah, the easiest way to explain the ongoing situation is because of the no safe rails, no guardrail, nothing at all on NIL at the moment. There's been a congressional hearing over the rules in place because there are none. Quite frankly, there's no rules at all. It's kind of it's the Wild West of college football, which is college athletics in general, but I think football is the one that's getting hit the hardest with it. And I don't know if you saw the other day, I believe it was Mike D'Antoni said there's really nothing we can even do now. The floodgates have been open, and this congressional hearing, I don't know what they're even going to be able to solve. Any thoughts specifically on it?
I mean, my only thing is like there's really just no. I mean, this has been an issue for a while now. Where there's just no guardrails or any sort of boundaries. They kind of just came up with it. I think it was started like last year or the year before. So it's about 2 years going now, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, there just has not been any sort of just like any rules or rules set in stone. Just like here's the following what you can do. Here's following what you can't do. We're gonna keep this so where you guys are able to. You stay in these boundaries, you're fine. You go out, you're not. And it is leaked into this messy situation where now you got coaches and assistant coaches and and you have the boosters and you have the ADs and whatever. They're, you don't want to call it bribery, but I mean, you got kids
But quite
getting
frankly,
paid.
let's be real here.
You got
kind of
kids
is.
you got kids getting bribed from other schools, from other coaches. I mean, I think this was an instance last year where supposedly like who's the coach at Pitt? The Pitt Pitt
Mhm.
coach, and I think Mac Brown
Yeah.
were talking about how they said there were some SEC schools that were reaching out with trying to bribe away like Drake May,
Mhm.
like during the year.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you
Middle of the
can't.
season.
You just can't have that. I mean,
It's not good for the game at all. That's what I
it's
think.
not
That's
good
the
for.
easiest. It's
Yeah,
really bad.
it's not for good for the game. It just leads to more and more just distrust and
Mhm.
backstabbery. But I mean, there's really no morals anymore, even in college sports or whatever. More likely than not. So I don't know. I really don't know how they're gonna fix it. I feel like politics. I think the politicians need to not be the ones making up the rules. It needs to be
Mhm.
more of a there. I've thought about this for a long time, and I've watched people talk about it too. How they think that there needs to be some sort of like congressional or just a committee instead of having all of these ads just do whatever with each other. There needs to be some sort of one sole person or a group, like a committee or something that oversees all of this
Yeah.
with like a commissioner or something, like the NFL. Like you have Goodell, and then you have like his people right underneath, and then you have like the
Mhm.
NFLPA. So like I don't know if you need like a players committee from like and then you have like the player side, and then you have your side, which is just like I don't know, like just some sort of committee to oversee this because there's got to be some sort of way to control this. I mean, it's gotten way out of hand.
Because you have situations like the Jalen Rashada situation, right? Where
Mhm.
a school can tell a guy, we're gonna give you $13 million. They sign a letter of intent, and when they get there, they go, we're not doing that.
Or we don't have that money.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just write up a blank check and say, "Here, take it," when you can't say, "Here, I'm going to write down here's $500, but I only
Mhm.
have 300 in the bank."
Yeah.
You can't. Where's that other 200? It's like, oh, we just don't have it. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't be pulling
It's
money
just
out, and then you have high schoolers getting bribed. Not calling it bribe, but offered like these big money deals now, where they haven't
mhm.
even played a single, or if it's just football, I mean, you haven't even played a single snap yet. You haven't even got
Yeah.
onto campus. Who's to say you're going to start and with alone you're going to be making $5 million?
Yeah.
I saw a list the other day. I forget where I saw it on. I think it was Twitter, but I don't know who posted it. And it was just like top 10 NIL deals um, in like college sports or whatever. And like
Mhm.
number one was Bronny James. He's not even in
He's
college yet.
he's
It's like it
16, I
said like
think.
it was 7.4 million or something like that.
He's
He isn't even in
16.
he isn't even in college yet, dude. I
He's
mean,
not
what are
even
we
a
doing?
senior. Like he's not even a senior in high school yet.
No, I think he's older than 16. I think he's a junior. He's 17.
Is he?
17 or 18.
That's crazy.
But I mean, we can't be doing that.
Oh no,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
there
Yeah,
were
you're
some
right.
other people too. I can't remember, um but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to fix it. I don't know who's going to fix it. Um because now, I mean, realistically, the off season now is just like modern day. It's just like the free agency.
Yeah.
And now you have these two windows of like transfer portal days. Like the spring one's coming up
Mhm.
soon, right after spring practices.
Yeah. You wonder if we're gonna get any crazy news,
Yeah.
any bombshells.
I mean, there's probably going to be a couple people that are going to be transferring,
Mhm.
and people will be right all over them. But I don't know. I don't know what you do, but I don't even know. Like, what would you do? Like, if all right, you're in charge of
Mhm.
this mess.
Right.
Like, what's your overall like? What's the main thing you're trying to get across? Like, what's like the one thing you want to do to try to fix this issue?
So I think we need to actually define what name, image, likeness is, because I think the way it's written describes players earning money from their likeness, right? like branding deals, stuff like that. I think the
That's
biggest thing
fine.
we need to do, well, the biggest thing we need to do is we need to cut down on the amount of like John Ruiz in the world, right? Who is just a billionaire who made a shell company to hand out checks to guys to go to Miami. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of silly at that point. You know what I mean? Like, that's not an image like this. That's just, that's not, you know what I
No,
mean?
no.
These guys, you're giving
Writing
money
a
to high
check for
school kids.
someone, writing a check to someone just to go to that school is not anything. No,
No,
no, no, no.
it's ridiculous because the whole point of this was to let guys like sign deals with Nike while they're like at Alabama, right?
And that's fine. I think
Like
that's 100% right.
yeah, and it so that guys can profit off of like schools selling like their jerseys, merchandise with their names and numbers and stuff on that on there, so that like
Yeah.
EA can remake college football games again and use actual player likenesses. That's what
Yeah.
I personally saw this as. I never thought it would be guess which booster foundation has bigger money pools to put into their own
Yeah.
shell
And
company.
now, I mean, and now you're seeing that it's probably, I mean, there's no lying. I mean, it's the top dogs of college sports
Mhm.
are going to write a bigger check, are going to have a bigger check than you are. And
Yeah,
that's how they're going to get the best recruits now. I mean, this is trickling down to high school, and you're seeing it in recruiting rankings. And you're going to see it all over. I mean,
yeah.
think about it. I mean, I'm not, there's no one to hide it. Georgia does this. Probably
Mhm.
they have a big checkbook.
Yeah,
When you win back-to-back titles with some of the best talent around, and I mean that's what's going to happen. At Bama, Texas A&M.
yeah.
I mean Texas. I mean a lot of this oil money. They call it oil money in Texas because a lot of the boosters and stuff. These guys
That's
are
where they got that money
A&M,
from,
Texas. Who else? I mean
especially
Texas
A&M,
Tech, Baylor,
especially A&M.
TCU. A&M's the big one. But
I still don't know where they got that money from, but yeah,
yeah, I mean because you got to find a way, like you said, because the best. This was meant to get people, like players of all sports, like listen,
Mhm.
you're going to be able to make money now off of this.
Right.
So, but now it's completely just been overrun. And I think the best way to fix this is you got to have some sort of committee from both sides, both
Yeah,
parties, so they can come up with a way to figure this out. It's the only way it's going to
you,
happen.
you got to get like a committee together, and then you have to have a way to enforce a ruling.
Yeah.
Put strict rules down and be like, you cannot do this, you can do this. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Create, yeah,
Guardrails. Some sort
exactly.
of barrier to not let, and if you oversee that, you get penalized for it.
Yeah.
So,
hmm
but yeah, I don't really have anything much else to say about it. But
No, no, I
it's
think we both
certainly an
got
issue.
across our points.
Alrighty,
So
so
then we
we will
move
move
on
on
to
to the next one, our next topic, which would be the Final Four predictions. This is going to be kind of moving into different sports here. So as you all know, if
Mhm.
you haven't been living under a rock, or if you follow sports, the college basketball NCAA tournament has been going on, March Madness. This is the final weekend. We have reached the Final Four. This was a tournament that I said going in was going to be one for lookout because there wasn't one single dominant team all year. All the top dogs had their flaws,
Yep.
and here we are, Final Four. We have number 9 seed FAU Owls. Granted, they were tied with Houston and Charleston. See Dylan wearing his FAU shirt. They were tied with Houston, University of Houston, who was a 1 seed, and University of Charleston, who was a 12 seed in the tournament this year, coming in with the best records in college basketball. They were
Yeah.
31-3, dominant. They had won 21 in a row, I think, at one point this year.
Yeah, they
Start
did.
the year.
Mhm.
And so you have 9 seed FAU taking on the 5 seed San Diego State Aztecs from the Mountain West on one side, and on the other side you have 5 seed Miami, 4 seed UConn. Boy, oh boy! First of all, how have you enjoyed the tournament? What do you think about there's no really? I mean,
Yeah.
UConn's you could call a blue blood. I mean, they've been around. They've won a tournament. They won a national title back in 2014.
I think they're more of a women's blue blood than a men's blue blood, though.
Well, yeah, but they're still
They're still a
well-known
basketball
program.
powerhouse, though. I
Yeah.
would still
So,
say.
I mean, what have you thought about the
Yeah.
tournament just in general?
I think it's been a great tournament, and I think it's actually. I know there was a statistic that the viewing percentage is down, but I think this has been way better than last year's. Like infinitely better, more enjoyable, more storylines to go around. I mean, who could forget when Purdue lost? Like that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
A team that didn't even know they were going to be there.
Yeah, that squad because Fairleigh Dickinson, who was the 16th seed. What a crazy event! So for their coach just in general, his name's
Yeah.
Tobias something, I forget.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose to Merrimack in their conference title.
Yep.
Merrimack, unfortunately, is not eligible for the tournament because they're finishing up their final year of transferring to Division One. So
Yep.
they're not eligible, which I think is the dumbest rule imaginable. It happened last year too with Bellarmine. So dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Happened to James Madison last year too.
Mm-hmm. With football.
Football, yeah.
So the so you have Merrimack who beats them, but FDU goes to the tournament as the replacement, as the 16, but they play Purdue, who a lot of people thought was like the weakest link of the 1 seeds.
Yeah.
Man, he crushed that ball. I have the FGCU baseball game on right now. FGCU is up 4-1 right now in the first. I absolutely love to see it. Anyway, so you have Purdue, FDU. FDU just was a 23-point dog going in.
Yeah.
And they outplayed Purdue. But this is where like the tournament's so much fun, and you know this too.
Yeah.
If you can, you're always going to get an upset in round 1 because teams like this, like big boys, they only get you only get 3 days to prepare for them. You've never seen them, and that's what's so much fun about the tournament because you can catch a team like Purdue on a bad day. Because if you think about a lot of times, if a team like that survives, for instance, like Xavier was pushed, Miami. This is a good one. Miami.
Yeah,
Was
Miami's
outplayed by Drake for the entire game until about 10 minutes left in the game. And then all of a sudden Miami just flipped the switch. And then just started they eventually they took the lead and pulled ahead from Drake. Yep. But they were getting worked. Xavier, same thing, was getting worked by K-State, Kennesaw State. And I thought Kennesaw State would beat them. But because a lot of times you see these teams get scared or they barely pass, and then you see them the next round, you're thinking, oh wait, recency bias, they don't look that good, and then all of a sudden they come out with just guns blazing, all right, hey, we're back, we got refreshed, got past that little bump, here we go. So you see that a lot of times, and that was like Miami. Now they've looked unstoppable. But FDU, I mean, they beat them, almost beat FAU, but then the coach just got hired at Iona. Look at that, because Pitino left.
Like that.
I mean,
Pitino left for.
He took the St. John's job.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
But FAU, I mean, if you want to go through, I mean, they did. I do think they caught a break because they didn't play Purdue in that second round. Because I think you would have saw a totally different Purdue team. I think you would have saw a team that was not refreshed, but relieved in a sense.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have gotten by. I think you would have saw a team ready to go. But that's not how the tournament works.
That's the nature of the tournament, right?
I mean, you might beat a team 9 out of 10 times, but that one time, that's just your unlucky break. So,
honestly, I watched the game against FAU in Tennessee. FAU just outplayed them in every facet of that game. They were just.
And after Tennessee, it just beat Duke.
Yeah, going into that game, I think Tennessee was the not overwhelming favorite, but if you checked online, I mean, it was almost like it felt like consensus.
It was a 5-point spread, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, because I thought FAU was going to beat Memphis. They did at the buzzer.
Yep.
I thought they were going to beat FDU. Tennessee, I thought that was when the road was going to end because Tennessee was just coming off that big win against Duke. Defensively, they're really good, but again, lack of shooters on the perimeter killed Tennessee. They didn't kill them against Duke, which I thought they were going to lose, but it caught up to them a little bit at the end against FAU. Credit to you guys. I mean, credit to FAU because show up, show out. I mean, that's what this tournament's all about.
I mean, you win 2 more games and you're a national champion, right?
Opportunities there. Going into the tournament, I saw a thing plus 2,000 FAU was to win it outright. So if you bet $10, you would win $2,000.
I should have taken that bet. That is, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I mean, but I think this is going to be, if we're going back to the games now. It's just weird because like nobody's really talking about it. Like people are like, "Oh, Final Four's this weekend." I'm like, "Yeah, it's this weekend," but like there's no storylines really going into this. Like last year, you had all the Blue Bloods. You had Coach K's final run, and it was against UNC. You had Kansas, Villanova playing each other. Like this year, you have just a bunch of, you don't call them no names, but you just a bunch of guys, veteran teams, NIL teams who take advantage of the transfer portal. We'll go through the games. I just haven't thought about that. But I think FAU San Diego State's going to be a low scoring game. I think San Diego State's ability to just bully ball at this point is really, you've seen it. I mean, they did it against Bama. That Creighton game was really good. I thought Creighton was going to win. I think that call at the end was a ticky tack. They had been calling that call all day. Why you call it with 2 seconds left in the game baffles me. I don't know, but if FAU can keep the hot streak going, especially from the outside, I think they've got to be able to get into transition more. I think you got to get offensively in transition because I think San Diego State does better when they're set. I think they'll take advantage if they're in a set D already in the half court. But that's just what I've seen. I don't watch. I mean, just from what I've watched, I mean, that's the cool thing with tournament too. Like you see these teams, they play you might play 3 or 4 teams that are all different styles, and if you're able to overcome that, I mean, you don't really get rattled too much then towards the end. But what do you think? You're the FAU guy. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't describe myself as the FAU guy. My sister really is, but I mean, put it bluntly, they've been fantastic this year. Like all together, they've been absolutely incredible. Especially since I think about it like this: getting past the first round automatically made this the best season in the history of the school, right? Like this is the best year the school has ever had for basketball. Going to the Final Four, what's there to lose, right?
Nothing to lose. I think
there's nothing to lose. They're a team that has a chip on their shoulder because, I mean, you heard this. I don't know if you heard the story when the coach first got hired there. He thought, he was like, "I'm done. I got a dead end job."
Well, I mean, it's just a kind of like another Conference USA team. I mean, there's nothing special about it.
Nope.
But here you are.
I mean, now that they're moving up to the American next year, I think it's a little bit more appealing. But just going back to it in general, they're just a fun team to watch, though. Like, their offense is good. They're really good on defense, especially, like, perimeter defense.
Yeah.
Like, they do not give guys a lot of opportunities to shoot threes. And especially in college basketball, and just basketball in general these days, where some teams live and die on the three-point shot.
And you got that big guy in the middle. I forget his name. He's good too.
Yeah.
I forget his name though, but yeah, he's a good guy. So spread is 2. San Diego State is a 2-point favorite right now. Connecticut is a 5.5 against Miami.
I haven't seen much UConn this year. I watched a little bit of Miami, but
UConn's good. That game's going to be fascinating because Miami loves to shoot the three, loves to shoot it, and they shoot it really good. But UConn has been just bullying, steamroll. I mean, not even really been tested at all this tournament. Their average margin of victory I saw was 22 points a game. They're averaging a little over 80 a game. I mean, they have bullying their teams, and they're just a really good team. I think they're shooting well over 30% from three right now as a team.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I think Texas should have beat Miami last game. Credit to Miami for sticking with it. They didn't score a single three. I think they hit maybe 1 3 in that second half. But credit to them. But I think my UConn right now is just, I don't know how you stop them. And I think UConn's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Final score prediction, I want to say like 81 to
It's a high scoring game.
81 to 70.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say. And then I think
yeah, that's fair.
I just don't know with this FAU San Diego State game. I don't know because it's going to be a low scoring affair. I just know it.
Mm-hmm.
I think FAU might. The only thing FAU might have the advantage because they were able to keep up with K-State, who can score just as well as anybody.
Right.
And they were keeping up with them. It's going to be a good. You're going to know a good feeling about what's going to happen in that game. I think first 10 minutes, because is FAU really are they going to be able to keep up the physicality of San Diego State, or are they just going to kind of lay down, kind of like Furman did back in that second round? That's the only thing you wonder. I think FAU is going to be ready to play, and honestly, for both teams, because I think this is both teams' first time for FAU, but I don't know for San Diego State.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
because the furthest they've ever gotten, I think, was the Sweet 16 with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, so this is going to be a first time for both teams. It's how are they going to react? How are you going to adjust to playing on a stage? You're playing in a football stadium.
Yeah.
So how are you going to react to the you're in the big time now. So
I do think they got lucky with their opponent being San Diego State, though, because this is mid-major versus mid-major.
It is. Yep, because
you're not playing Duke. You know what I mean? You're not walking into a football stadium where there's a chance Duke would have filled up a football stadium with fans. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Oh, I thought you were talking about like actual football game, because I'm like, Duke's.
No.
Duke's not really most overwhelming.
No, but in basketball, like Duke basketball
Cameron
fans
Indoor.
could fill up a football-sized arena.
Yeah, I mean,
I think this is the best case scenario for them, and I'm taking FAU.
You're gonna take FAU. You know what? We're gonna roll with FAU. We're gonna roll FAU. I think they have it in them. Owls. Who? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win?
Woo.
So I like FAU, UConn, and then UConn might TCU, Georgia TCU, FAU. That's the only thing you wonder. I mean, it's not gonna. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know who's going to beat UConn at this point. I mean, they are rolling right now.
I think it's going to be UConn.
And they didn't even win the
national championship.
They didn't even make their conference. They didn't even make their conference final.
Yeah.
UConn. They lost to Marquette, I think, in the semis. Don't quote me.
And that's the Big East, right?
Yeah. Big East is good, dude. Big East had Creighton, Marquette, Xavier, UConn. Who else is in it? Providence, St. John's. I mean, there's some good teams, and
Big East always has.
Big East is good in basketball. Big East.
Yeah.
All right. My only final thing was just in general college sports. I think Final Four related. I think this is what you're going to see more, especially in college sports or college basketball terms. Like, I don't think you're going to see like all heavy blue bloods anymore unless they start returning. You return more guys. I think you're starting to see that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I just saw a couple like big time schools like have some good players are coming back for another year. I think you're starting to see that. I think the key now is, and I think this year is going to be your perfect example. I think we're slowly fading away from the one and done kind
I
of
mean,
motto. There's still going to be some guys like Brandon Miller. Um,
well, I mean,
I'll just use him
I,
as a general.
I would agree with you if it wasn't for the NBA just announcing they will not lower the draft age to 18.
Well, I just think in
Well,
general, though, I think
mhm.
because there's now you have NIL, you can make more money now as long as you're playing. So who's to say you could play 3 years, and if you're a really good player, and have an NIL deal, and you'd be set for a little bit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So then that means you can go sign with a team if you want or get drafted at that point. But I think you're seeing a transfer portal now where a team may be a piece or two away, and now you don't have to just kind of hope and a prayer in a high school recruit. You can go out to the portal and
Mhm.
get a guy or two that you
Yeah.
need. And I think that's going to really help. And you saw, and that's what like San Diego State did, UConn did, Miami. I think has. I'm sure FAU's done it before.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing this now, where I think, yeah, more experienced veteran teams are now going to be able to take down these less experienced big time programs in the
Mhm.
tournament because they've been there, done that. I think you're going to start seeing that more. You're going to see blue bloods back, and this is the odds of this happening. I think were 1 in 125,000 or something like that.
Right.
Like the probability of all four of these teams being in there. So it's not going to happen very likely ever again. It might, it may not. I don't know. But more experience, more veteran teams are going to be in these spots going forward. That's just my thought.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think the biggest thing to note though is that I don't think the Blue Bloods will ever be able to not have the one and done problem until the NBA changes its ruling
Well,
because
go ahead, finish.
because top college recruits 9 times out of 10 their goal they really don't even care about college. All they care about is going to the NBA. So
Well,
what they're going to do is they're just going to be like, oh, I'll sign with Kentucky, play a season there, go to the NBA.
yeah. I mean, I still think that you're going to have your guys that are going to do that.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
just think now, but now with the transfer portal being there, it's going to be hell of a lot easier for teams. Okay, you want to go? Okay, we got a guy in the transfer portal that we've been talking to already. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I think that's what's going to help too. Like it's going to almost relieve the blow a little bit. It's not going to be as bad
Hmm.
for teams that have those one and dones. They'll be like, okay, we'll be fine. We're going to miss you,
Right.
but excuse me, but you go be you. So, all right. So we both think FAU is going to win. And who do you like? UConn, Miami. I said UConn.
I say UConn.
All right.
I can't
So we
I
got to.
can't say Miami was going to win anyways, just in general, but
That would be funny though. You get UConn and or Miami and FAU.
yeah, we could call it the Southeast Florida game, right?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be like all the New Yorkers will say those are their teams. Anyway, that's a Florida joke. That's a Florida joke for anybody out there. If you know, you know. Anyway,
If you know, you know. You know.
you know, you know. All right, we'll move on to our next topic here. All right, so Anthony Richardson just had his pro day, and we're here to react about it. This is unbiased, real content right here. Um, I just saw some clips. I didn't watch it. I'm not a
I didn't
dweeb
watch the whole
who
thing. No,
watches.
I watched a little
He
bit.
hit the
I saw
ceiling. He hit
yeah.
the ceiling and he did a backflip. I saw. No,
I
I'm
saw
just
him
teasing.
overthrow a target at the combine and people praise him. So there's that.
He did have a 74-yard throw at the pro
Yep.
day that was completed. That was pretty sweet.
Hmm.
But I mean, pro days are pro days. I mean, it's just so hard for me, and this is just completely unbiased. This is not bashing Richardson. This goes for really all quarterbacks and positions, mostly quarterback though, because you see this every year. You know, the media, how hyped up they get over just guys making throws. A, they should be making.
Yeah.
B, there's no pressure simulated. So this is really just you're not going to ever be throwing to guys in shorts. The media blows it way out of proportion when a 6'5" 200 and such quarterback with ungodly characteristics should be making those throws. But we saw that one specific one, the rollout to the left, where he threw it, a really nice throw downfield was completed.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh my God. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Where it's like, oh my gosh, he's the second coming. Oh my God, he's Cam Newton again. It's Cam Newton and Josh Allen combined. I don't know. But like, dude, it's like, let's dial back. I saw Zach Wilson make a throw like that 3 years ago, and he is not going to be starting in an NFL game for a while. So
I think he's working on a register at a McDonald's right now, actually.
But no, he's actually just picked up another couple chicks for the time being. But,
his mom's other friends.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I just think the pro days are silly. It's kind of like I mean, I don't mind the combine. I think pro days are good for guys that aren't competing in the combine. Obviously, like Bryce Young didn't compete, but I would rather see. I saw somebody talk about the big throws are good, but how many times in a game are you going to see someone throw a ball 75 yards downfield?
One in every like 3 games, you'll see a guy throw that far. I mean,
guys in the NFL
throw.
don't get that open.
Yep.
I want to see my quarterback be able to make. And I saw this with Will Levis's pro day too, where they were crediting like his arm strength and stuff. It's like, but I want to see the guy make the easy 8-yard out, the 10-yard crosser, the 5-yard dump to the right or left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see a guy wind to his right or to his left and just dump it off. Make that nice throw. Pick up the 6 to 8 yards. Okay.
That's why I really do think, I think you'll agree with me when I say this. NFL scouts at this point are way too obsessed with the physical feats, right? Less so the actual production, but the physical feats in which they go, oh, well, we can turn this into Josh Allen. No, you can't.
Yeah.
I say you're going to draft 1 million of these guys till you actually get another Josh Allen.
I mean, and we were talking about this before we started recording, what happened to game tape? Because I know there's game tape out there where Mr. Richardson, he's not the only one. I mean, Richardson, Levis. I mean, Stroud occasionally will watch the Michigan game. But, like, I mean, Bryce Young's really the only outlier because, I mean, he's so good. And I could say that as a Georgia fan. I mean, Bryce Young was really good. Do I think he should be number 1? Maybe. Is it unfair a little bit that Stetson Bennett is the same height as him or taller and is projected in the third to the 5th round? I don't know. That's not for me to decide.
I was going to say, I've actually been seeing a lot of projections where, because of Bryce Young's height, he's been falling. Not out of the top 5, but he's no longer a consensus number 1 anymore. Because
I think Stroud's the betting favorite right now.
Yeah.
And the Panthers like him a lot.
Yeah. You know who really likes him?
I think Frank Reich.
Frank Reich loves those tall guys.
Josh
McCown's
McCown's there too.
Richardson at that point, then, man.
Well, I mean, Richardson's up there too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
As far
as 6'5".
But I mean, as far as Richardson goes, I mean, because that's what we're talking about here. What happened to game tape? Where I just remember watching is the Kentucky game not existent anymore? Does anybody seen
from the archives?
Because I saw him; he couldn't make a 5-yard out, and he did. It went to the other team, and the guy walked into the end zone for a pick 6. He threw 2 picks that game. I know the Utah game's out there. I know he wasn't playing running back today. I could have sworn in the big play that everyone talks about where he threw it was a 2-point conversion. Don't give me this crap, okay? Was it a good play? Yeah, it was a good play. He extended the play, created with his feet. That's one of his many athletic abilities. But the inconsistencies are outweighing the athletic abilities from what I've seen, and I watch SEC more than Dylan does, I know for sure.
Yeah.
I'm like our SEC correspondent right here. I mean, I watch college football just as much as Dylan does, probably more.
Yeah.
But I watched the LSU game. I was at the LSU game. I was at the Georgia game. The Georgia game overthrew 4 touchdowns he could have had. He had guys, and partly, and I don't know how it happened on Georgia's side, but I mean, there were 3 times there was guys wide open. He hit one of them for a touchdown in the second half.
Mhm.
That game could have been totally different, but he overthrew him by like 10 yards. The overthrows are bad. The Florida State game, did we just forget about this the second half? He started the half over
13
12.
straight.
Oh, over 13.
Mhm.
Okay? No. I just can't. Will Levis is the same thing. Too many inconsistencies outweigh the physical attributes.
Yeah.
Like you said, I like the point you made with scouts and stuff. It's cool. He's a big time quarterback. Great, he can
Mhm.
run. I love that.
Yeah.
If I'm a GM of a guy, I don't want to see my quarterback who I'm drafting in with a top 10 pick. I don't want to see him running 15 times a game, taking hits like
Exactly.
that. I need longevity. I don't
Mhm.
need I don't need a 5-8 year period. I want 10 years, 12 years, 15
10,
years
15
of the
years.
guy.
Yeah, 10, 15 years is what you want when you're drafting a guy that early, especially
And that's
quarterbacks,
why
right?
and GMs now, and you're seeing it in the league right now with
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson. Ravens don't want to pay him that much money
Right.
because he's been hurt consistently 3 out of the last 4 years
Mhm.
for extended periods of time. I think about 3 out of the 4, 2 out of the 3 maybe.
No, 3 out of the 4. He's been more or less hurt every year since he's won the MVP.
So 3 out of 4. So he can't stay healthy. Why? Because he
Mhm.
runs the ball too much. So he's taking
Yeah.
hits. And GMs, I'm sorry, are not. Obviously, there's going to be GMs out there that want him. And I would want him too if I needed a quarterback because he's a good
Yeah.
thrower of the ball. But longevity is going to kill him. And
Yeah.
Josh Allen now is seeing the same stuff.
Mhm.
He didn't get bothered by it this year. There was the one instance he hurt his elbow on a throw he made. But I'm telling you, I just know it. I know. I think Brandon Beane's the GM of the Bills.
I
Don't
think you're
quote
right.
me on that. I could be
Mhm.
wrong.
I
Could be
think you're right
right. We're
there.
gonna look it up now. Yeah, he's the GM. Brandon Beane. Yes. Why I do that, I don't know. Brandon Beane. You got him and Sean McDermott have got to be like, dude, you got to cut it back a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need you. Now every once in a while, I need that from you,
Mhm.
but I don't need that 15 times a
Week
game.
2. I don't need that week 2. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No. I need that if we're pushing for a 1 seed in the playoffs later
Mhm.
in January. If we're in the
Exactly.
playoffs, I need that from you. But I also need you to stay in the pocket and make a deliver or throw down the field. Okay? I don't need you getting knocked out for a concussion in week 4. Okay? And I think you're going to – in Richardson, that's what scares me. I do think if he falls to the right guy, I've seen projection boards where he's going to Seattle or Indy
That could be
now.
good.
Indy one worries me because he's going to get thrown in and start, and that's what's going to kill him. He needs
Yep.
to
And
get drafted to a team that has a guy. Seattle is a perfect example. They have that top 10 pick because they have the Broncos top 10 pick.
Yep.
They
From
just
the
re-signed Geno Smith.
Wilson trade.
They just re-signed Geno Smith. So Geno's going to be the starter going forward.
Mhm.
Draft Richardson. Let him develop underneath. Learn the system. Learn under Smith. Smith is a big threat. He's a vet that's been there, done that. Teach him. Get him just acclimated. Don't throw him to the wolves. I think it would be horrible for him to go to Indy. Don't think it. Indy needs a guy that's more game ready. So I would not be surprised if they move up to try to get Young or Stroud.
Mhm.
Stroud and Young are the 2 guys that I wouldn't have a problem starting day 1. I don't have
Right.
a problem with it. I really don't. Richardson and Levis scare the crap out of me if I was a GM because just inconsistencies. I don't need Will Levis's body posing in his bathroom mirror. I don't need some guy that's jacked up like that. It's just
No, I understand.
wild.
But
But I would rather have. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Wilson or Levis or Richardson?
Right now, Richardson.
Okay, same here.
Mm-hmm.
Richardson, I think, is an easier fix than what Levis is.
Well, I think that Richardson's
Levis could
problems are more obviously identifiable than Levis, right?
Levis, you don't know what you're going to get each week.
Exactly, yeah.
He couldn't beat Sean Clifford out at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Clifford's no better than him. What does that
Definitely not
say?
better than him.
No.
But before
And
we
Sean
spend too
Clifford's
much longer on here, I do think
well,
we
I was
need
just
to
going
move
to say
on to our
Sean
last three. Yeah, you go.
we will. I was just going to say, but and you see Sean Clifford was winning Rose Bowls, and Will Levis is sitting out at the Outback Bowl or the whatever bowl they were playing.
I think it was it the they definitely
No,
didn't
it
go to the
was
Outback Bowl.
no, it was the
Was it the Relic West Bowl?
no, that was Mississippi State. They
Music
went to
City?
the yeah, no,
Yeah, because they
no, it
played
was in
Iowa.
Orlando. The Citrus Bowl.
Yep. I don't know how they got invited to that, but yeah, you're right.
Well, bowl eligibility does that for you, but yeah, but pro days are overrated. Richardson,
Mm-hmm.
go to Seattle. All right, we'll move on to the final segment of our wonderful podcast. Hope you guys are liking it. Hit that subscribe button
Yeah.
while you're there.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, let's take this moment to realize that we can hit that subscribe button and get us to more subscribers. And let's get some more viewers going, guys. Come on. Viewers
Yeah,
been a little slacky the last couple episodes.
last couple episodes haven't been doing so good, but we can completely change that around in one day.
Exactly. You hit that subscribe button. You watch the videos. Listen to us. We are a Florida State, Georgia podcast, and we love Anthony Richardson. Love him.
We do like it more than Levis.
I hate Will Levis. Overrated. Stinks. Anyway.
So
All right,
I'll
we'll
let you
move
go
on.
first with the questions.
So yeah, we are playing 3 questions now,
Mhm.
presented by 3 questions. Anyway, so do you want to just take turns? I'll just start.
Yeah, we'll just go back and forth.
Okay. All right. So my first question is, rundown is we each get 3 questions for each other. We write for each other. We don't know what they are. They could be about literally anything. Okay. So, all right, Dylan, who do you see being a dark horse to make the playoff this year? Keep in mind we're still in the 4 teams. It starts next year's the 12, 25.
Yes.
Okay.
12, yeah.
Okay.
But
So next year when you can lose 3 games and still make it. Okay.
yeah. So not gonna be the craziest take, but I would probably go my dark horse would be Penn State.
Okay.
Is really all they have to do. They need to beat Ohio State, Michigan, bam, they're in. That's the only obstacle.
They beat Ohio State or Michigan?
Yeah.
They
They beat
get
Ohio State or Michigan, I think they get in.
They get Michigan at home this year, and they go to Ohio State. I like that one because because Penn State, I've heard, because they got the new guy starting at quarterback, and he's really good.
Yeah.
Manny Diaz has got that defense looking really good. By the way, what a pickup that was. That was last year by Franklin.
Yeah, that was a smart defensive coordinator pick.
Franklin, who was really, I mean, just you didn't know what his future was going to be like, but then he goes out and gets Manny Diaz, and that defense is completely from the start of the year to the end of the year. I mean, they looked good, and so now I think they got that defense under control. And like you said, I mean, realistically, you only need to beat one of the 2.
Exactly, because one of the other 2 are going to
If you could beat both of them, I mean, you pretty much clinch your spot into the tournament and the title game, unless you screw it up somehow and lose to a team. But that's totally what Penn State does every year. So
exactly. So which is
but
why
you still have
dark horses.
I mean, you have the running backs coming back.
Mm-hmm.
They'll still be their sophomore year, Nick Singleton. I think Singleton's sophomore year coming up. So I like that one. I do like that one. All right, what's your
I said, who do you have winning the 2023 World Series?
Ooh. Well, I mean, the Braves are really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their lineup is.
Max Fried just got hurt.
Yeah. They said he'll miss at least his 1 start. but
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be too big of a thing. But their offense is so good. FGCU just hit a home run, 6-1. Anyway, their offense is so good though, from top to bottom, and they got everyone back healthy so far. And every time they bring up somebody from the minors, it just seems like it's just plug and play. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they don't even skip a beat. I like the Braves. I do think Iglesias, their closer, Raciel Iglesias is still on his way back.
Right.
And now you got Free. So I mean, if the pitching stays healthy, I think he's more consistency out of the bullpen, or they will be fine. I'd like. I mean, the Astros you can never count out.
Exactly. That's what I was
I
thinking,
I
right?
the Mariners are a team, a sneaky one.
I actually think the one thing with the Astros though is after they lost to Verlander, that's kind of a massive loss nobody really wants to talk about.
It is, but honestly, I mean, their offense is so good still too, and I mean,
Mhm.
Valdez got beat up the other night, but the Mets aren't going to do anything this year. Injuries have already plagued them. They're only 2 games in.
Yeah.
The Yankees, I mean, you hate to say it, but I mean, they're always up there.
I don't know.
But
Their
dark horse,
rotation's hurt already. No, just who do you think's gonna win in general?
I
Who do
think
you
the
think's
Braves
got a
will win
position?
it. If
You got
I
the
picked the
Braves?
two teams, one from the National, one from the American, I go Braves
Mhm.
in the National. American, I'd probably pick the um say Mariners. Mariners
Mariners. Okay.
or
Whew, that's a
Mariners
spicy.
or um Mariners or Astros. I mean, until the
Mhm.
Astros can consistently. I mean, they cakewalked right through the American League playoffs last year.
Yeah,
So
but nobody even. Yeah, it was awful.
Mariners probably put up the best fight against them, and they all still got beat. What, in 5? I don't even
3.
know. It was 3 because they
Mhm.
blew the
They
2
didn't. They
games.
didn't. They didn't lose a playoff game to the World Series.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So in the American League, I mean, the Mariners put up the best fight. So I like the
Yep.
Mariners. Mariners or Astros, whoever's coming out of the West, and then give me the
Mhm.
Braves. Roll with the Braves. Chop on.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Who is better suited for the next 10 years, Dylan, in the SEC? Texas or Oklahoma?
Texas.
Okay.
I know
I
this
need a
sounds.
reason.
I'll give a little bit of explanation. Is I just think right now Texas is further along in building something, right? Than
Yeah.
Oklahoma, who is going to be, lack for a better word, but they seem still completely lost on what they want to do with the program. You know, because you have a brand new head coach who has a completely opposite philosophy coaching wise as the guy who's just there.
Yeah.
So I just think next 10 years, I would lean towards Texas over Oklahoma, simply for the fact that I think Texas has at least an idea of a path they're going, and they're recruiting fantastic too. If Arch
Yeah.
Manning's as good as he could be, that's at least like what 4 of the next 5 years at least they could be solid then.
Yeah. I like Texas too.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to be better fit, built their football team better for the SEC. Give me
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. What's your second question?
How far can you think? I know it's actually funny because you just told me they hit a home run, but how far can FGCU baseball go this season? Like what's their ceiling, you think?
Well, they're 21-5 right now. They're up 6-1 against Jacksonville. I think the pitching still concerns me some in the bullpen. Just a lack of they don't have a number one guy right now from a starter perspective. Their
Mhm.
starting rotation is a little iffy. Um, but I mean, if they can get the pitching figured out, their starters, they should be a favorite right now to win the AA Sun. And then once you get in the tournament, I don't know. I mean, you always hope for a Cinderella story, but I think they can make the regional. They can make regionals. I think they could at least pull off a win or two.
Yeah.
At least. I don't see them really getting out of regionals unless something crazy happens. But yeah, listen, you never know what happens in the regionals. So I mean,
Mhm.
USF won the Gainesville regional a couple years ago, and UF went 0-2 as a host. So
Mhm.
you never
I'm just
know.
saying, do you think Omaha is possibly in the cards?
That would be awesome. I've said this to people, I said, listen, if they go to Omaha, I'm back in my bags. I'm heading to the game. Heading there right now.
All right.
Yeah, heading to Omaha. I need to go there anyway, but
Yeah.
all right. Anyway, all right, Dylan. Final question: who do you like? Staying in the baseball world, I guess. Who do you like winning the College World Series this year?
I haven't heard this answer too much, but I kind of like Wake Forest.
All right, they're good.
Yeah, Wake Forest is really good this year, and because everybody only talks about the SEC for baseball for the most part because they're loaded with baseball teams.
Yeah.
Wake Forest is quietly really, really good.
Oh, they're really good, dude.
I
They
know.
just put a whooping on Clemson the other day. I think. Don't quote me on that again.
I think that's the biggest benefit they'll have, though, is that they're going to go into the tournament for the most part really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And when a lot of these SEC teams are going to beat up on each other,
Yeah.
have guys throw their arms out before they even get to like
Uh-huh.
qualify.
I like I guess I like LSU.
Yeah,
LSU
LSU's
is
good.
loaded. I watched them the other night against Tennessee.
Yeah, I was watching
Dude,
that
Paul
game too.
Skeens is so good. So good, dude. His average fastball from last year was
Mhm.
faster than any qualifying major league starter
Yeah.
from an average fastball. 99.2 was his average fastball. He hit 102 the other day. His 7 starts, I think. He has at least 11 Ks.
Mhm.
He had 12 the other night. He's good, and they got Cruz, and that lineup is just loaded. Dylan Cruz is hitting 520 something right now.
I mean, he sounds like me playing MLB The Show.
Do you know his? They said his stat line when he was leading off.
Mhm.
His when he leading off an inning, just in general in any, and he's hitting, he's batting over 700. And we're in April, dude.
Yeah.
It's wild. That's wild, dude. So give me Dylan Cruz. I like LSU. South Carolina's really good too. They just lost
Mhm.
last night to Mississippi State. Mississippi State just won their first SEC game in 18 tries.
Yeah.
They lost 18 straight SEC games. So I like South Carolina. They got a really good Petrie's this freshman they got, and he hits massive things. Oh, I got LSU. Tommy Tanks is on there too.
Yep.
Tommy White's there. So I like LSU. But
That's good.
South Carolina, watch out. And I hate
That's
it.
good.
All right, Dylan, what's your final question before we get out of here?
So, the last 2 seasons, a Georgia player has risen out of relative obscurity on the national scale and become a top 5 draft pick. Who is your Georgia player this year who could replicate that?
1 second. What was the question again?
So, the last 2 seasons, a Georgia player who was not in the preseason top 5 for draft picks has
Yeah.
risen up and gotten picked in the top 5. Who do you think is going to break out this season?
Well, what time? Smile Munden is up there. He's really good. Brock Bowers. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Bowers is up there. It's hard because the defense is so young right now. Like a lot of freshmen, sophomores played. So Michael Williams is up there. He was a freshman though, so he'll be. I mean, Smile Munden, Javon Dumas Johnson is up there. I'm trying to think of who else. It's crazy, dude. Their defense is stacked and they're young and ready. I mean, they got Malachi Starks was a true freshman last year. They got Bear Alexander, who's going to be playing more this year. Jamal Jarrett, who's a 5-star freshman they got this year. Look out for Tyke Smith, too. I looked at him. He's been nagged with the injury bug. He was a transfer from West Virginia. This is his senior year. I think he might have a nice breakout year. If you're looking for dark horses, Dumas Johnson or Tyke Smith.
Okay.
Those are my guys. So
All right. I think
Alrighty,
with
so
that's
hold on.
everything.
Yeah. So, we'll wrap up the video here. Please, guys, as the header says, subscribe, watch the video, like the
Mhm.
video, spread the word. We really appreciate it, guys. Find us also on Spotify. We're also on there. We're on Amazon Music. Listen to us if you're on the road or if you're working out and you want to listen to a podcast. Find us here. We got all you want to do. Enjoy all the games this weekend. I'm going to be watching the Penguins play in a little bit. Oh, actually, they're starting a little bit now.
I'll be
Baseball's
watching
on.
the Tampa Bay
Basketball Final
Rowdies.
Four. There you go. So, yeah, just like the video. Enjoy, guys. And
Mhm.
we'll be back next time. We'll figure that out. But, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk back at next time.
All
Anything you
right.
want to say real quick?
Please like and subscribe to the video and just share it around. We really appreciate any looks our way.
For sure. Alrighty, guys. We'll get the video up and post it, and you guys enjoy it. We'll be back next time.
All right. See you guys.
Yep.